So what are the ways to test if you're in ketosis? In this video, I'm going to go over 3 simple ways to test your ketone level, along with the pros and cons of each. Let's get started. I started on my ketogenic diet journey about 3 months ago and have gotten really great results. I've dropped about 20 pounds. It improved my mental and physical performance. However, I needed to find ways to actually quantify that result and be able to track my progress over time. And I found out that there are 3 different ways of doing that. So those 3 ways are through urine test, a blood test, or through your breath test. Also keep in mind that there are 3 types of ketones. One is acetate, another is called acetoacetate, and another type is called BHB or beta hydroxybutyrate. And the urine strips are made to test acetoacetate, while the blood test is great for testing BHB levels, which is a byproduct of acetoacetate. So now that I mentioned about the 3 different methods of testing for your ketones, I'd like to go into more detail about the urine test. So the urine test tries to detect the level of ketones that's excreted through your urine. It's a very inexpensive way of testing, costing about $10 to $15 per box. It's also really easy to test with, but the problem with this type of testing is that it becomes inaccurate once you become more keto adapted. And now I'd like to talk about the most accurate way to test for your ketone level, and that is through the blood. If you test your ketone level and anywhere between 0.5 millimolar or up, I would consider that you're in ketosis. Being the most accurate also has its cons, is that you have to prick yourself, and that can cause a little bit of pain for some. Also, if you consider the high cost of each test strip, depending on the brands that you have, can cost anywhere between from $1 to $3. So if you're testing on a daily basis, that can cost you about $180 a month, which I consider pretty high. But it could be worth it if you're looking for that most accurate way of testing. And lastly, I'd like to talk about the last method of testing your ketone level, and that is through the breath. I recommend a product called Levl home meters. This product is designed for up to 2 users and costs less long-term to use than a blood test. But keep in mind that it's a little bit less accurate than the blood test, but more accurate than urine test. Also, it has an app that you can use that would allow you to share your data with your health coach or doctor. The cons would be you would have a recurring cost of $99 a month, and that could be high for some. But if you compare it to the blood test, which costs about $180 a month, if you're doing those tests on a daily basis, can be a good cost saving for you. Also, keep in mind that with the blood test is that you have to change the sensor on a periodic basis. And now that I mentioned the pros and cons of the 3 different methods of testing for your ketones, I want you guys to keep in mind that the actual ketone level isn't that important, because each person have a different way of keto adaptation, and the score isn't that important as you think. So don't comparing yourself to another person. The higher score doesn't mean better always. And keep in mind that when you get started on a ketogenic diet, it takes up to 2 weeks before you can detect any levels of ketones. Time of day, also the level of blood sugar affects that as well. So if you're interested in any of the 3 methods that I mentioned in this video, be sure to check the description below for the latest pricing and other details. So to wrap it up, I think these 3 methods have its pros and cons. It's important to track your progress and see where you are, but definitely don't stress over it too much, because we're all in it to feel better. And that's what I think is the most important thing. So I have some questions for you guys. Are you guys currently on a ketogenic diet? How are you testing for it? And what do you like about the way you're doing your tests? Please comment on the section below so that we can connect and share some ideas. Hey guys, I want to show you guys how the urine strip test is done. It's extremely simple. Just take one of the strips and what I have in the cup is a urine, my urine. And all you have to do is do a quick dip and compare the color of your strip to the shot on the bottle. As you can see here, it's a readout about 1.5. So now I'm going to show you guys how I do the blood test. I'm going to have a more in-depth review of this particular Keto Mojo product in another video, so be sure to check the description below for that. But here I already set up my lancet and it's ready to draw blood. So let's get going. Squeeze your hand a little bit and position that right there. Go for it. And then squeeze the blood out. Give it a nice slant so that the blood will flow downward. And there you go. It's counting down now. 3, 2, 1. So right now my reading comes out to 1.0 millimolar per liter. So that is considered in a ketogenic range. Anything above 0.5, I consider it very accurate. And if you compare that to the result of the urine strip, you can see that it's a big difference between the two. So there you go. A blood test done on the Keto Mojo.